Good morning, everybody. Lee Brower here, and welcome to this week's edition of Meaningful Monday. I am grateful to be here. And guess what? A shout out to Greg Lipsitz. I am glad to be here, and I'm glad you're here. Happy birthday, Greg. Today is your birthday, and I just want to make sure I tell you so. Guess what? It's also our son Bo's birthday today. And a shout out to Bo. And last Saturday was our daughter's birthday. Stephanie, and I call her Sunshine because she lights up the room wherever she goes. And shout out to Stephanie for her birthday. And you go back to the day one of this year, and I mean we're 12 days into the year, and I can't believe all the amazing things. Well, within minutes of the new year, New Year's being celebrated in our home with some family, and Carly was there, and a young man surprised her, flew in from Arizona, and got down on one knee and asked her to marry him. And we're very delighted about that choice that she's made. And then, of course, last Thursday, saying goodbye to my mom. I've told you, if I could describe my mother to you and give her a good description, I've told you that you take the very best of Mother Teresa and you couple that with the very best of Lucille Ball. Now you've got my mother. And thanks to so many of you that sent condolences and some flowers and some, just reaching out with kind words. There were so many, and I'm so grateful. They really touched me, and it became part of the gratitude pile, if you will. I mean, because enormous emotions coming together, but I look at those, and they were really all grounded in gratitude. Gratitude was at the heart of it. I look at her life, and it's a life of gratitude. The teachings and the learnings that are going to be going on forever, that will outlive me, as a result of her life and the stories that we have and the traditions that we've already developed in our families that have emanated from her. And we're very, very grateful for that experience. And so 12 days in, I have to say, I can't believe all that's happened in just 12 days. As far as I'm concerned, this has been one heck of a meaningful year so far. And I look back at last year. What happened last year? Well, I told you that a year ago I sat down and I looked forward. I said, well, if we were sitting here 1 year from today, looking back to today, what has to have happened for me to feel happy about my progress? Well, I've changed that sentence completely. Let me tell you why. That question completely. I've modified it for the following reason. On December 31st, I was able to watch that video. And here's what happened as I watched the video. First of all, it starts out by saying, Lee, if you're watching this, congratulations, you made it through 2014. And then it went through and said, last year you sat down and projected out what you would like to have happen in 2014. And it walked me through what I visualized would happen in the four broad sections, the quadrants of my life, the core around my family, health, my value system, etc., around my experiences I wanted to have this year, how I wanted to strengthen those and make those better, how we would work on giving back to others and really focus ourselves on getting to that highest level of gratitude through service and contributions to others. And then finally, how we create value for the planet. It often is expressed in terms of financial, but it's really all about value creation. So looking at it through the lens of that, what I wanted to achieve. So what happened was I looked at it, and you know what? There was some things that I set out that, wow, we surpassed it. And I can't believe that we surpassed it. Then there was other things that showed up out of nowhere. They were precessional, or they were strategic byproducts that came as a result of being in motion. They had no intention or no understanding that it would show up, but because we were in motion, this showed up. And on off times, in one particular case, it's bigger than we could ever imagine. It was huge. And just because we were in motion. And then, of course, there were a few things that I wanted to do this, and I did this. Now, here's where the learning came. Because as I really looked at this, my first reaction was to be disappointed. Dang, how come, darn. Started to move in that competitive nature, the old definition before we get the old new definition of competition. But, as I looked at that and I thought, wow. And then I realized, I asked myself the question, wait a second, Lee, did you make meaningful progress during the year? Just because you didn't get to right here, was this progress meaningful? And I realized it was so meaningful because I'd gone years before without even getting up to here or here, and now I'm up to here. And so I started asking myself, isn't that really the question? So I rephrased my vision of 2015. What are all the elements necessary in order for 2015 for me to feel for me to feel that we've made meaningful progress? What would it take in those 4 areas of my life? So I started looking at it through the lens of meaningful progress. Now you might say, wait a second, that's not going to motivate me. Then I'm going to settle. No, you don't settle, because you bring your meaningful progress back into each day. If I have a vision, even if I set it high, but I'm celebrating meaningful progress, then I'm in gratitude. I'm not having to be grateful for this achievement. I don't have to wait for the amen of the prayer to be happy. I don't have to wait to cross the finish line to celebrate. I can celebrate as I go. And so the excitement of that, all of a sudden, wow, it just hit me. That life is about meaningful progress. There are no finish lines. And so how do we keep that meaningful progress going? We're coming out with our Empowered Wealth Journal. It should go to the printer this week. I'll talk to you more about that next week. I want you to, would you be willing to look at this year and look at it through the lens of meaningful progress? I know most of you have already planned out your year, but you should be looking at it on a regular and ongoing basis, even daily. So a great quote. Here it is, and I've got a better one for you even next week. We're just not going to take the time to it. But a person without a vision is a person without a future. And a person without a future will always turn to the past. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with turning to the past. We need the past to develop our wisdom narrative, our narrative wisdom. But we want to use the past then to inspire us, to use that wisdom, use the future to motivate us, and celebrate the present by acknowledging our meaningful progress. I'm anxious to talk to you next week. Thank you for being with me this week. 2:15 is going to be a great week. I love and appreciate you for who you are and the examples that you set to this world and the examples that you make a difference to me and others. I'll talk to you next Monday. Bye-bye.